Hi, good morning. It is, no, it's an early stream from where I am at. I have actually been up for a few hours. Um, Nightmares, sweats, fibro. Thank you, fibro. Fibro is definitely something I would like to get into at some point during my lives. There's a lot that people don't understand about fibromyalgia or um, a lot of people, a lot. And this is a cause of one of my incidents at one point is they say, oh, it's all in your head because they can't see any physical markers, even though your inflammation markers are way up there. And I've been tested for rheumatoid arthritis a couple times. I had markers, but then I didn't have markers. So yeah, fibro's fun because just like with PTSD, just like with a mental illness, just like with a personality disorder, you can't see it. So if you can't see it, it must mean it doesn't exist, right? Um, and unfortunately, that is conversations I've had with doctors, like not just regular people. I mean, doctors are regular people, but not anyone who's supposed to be trained. And they tell me that it's all in my head and there's nothing they can do, which to a point that's true and to a point that's not true. But you don't tell someone to a patient, like especially not knowing where they are at in their headspace. So speaking of headspaces, it's Workbook Wednesday, yay! I've got some cards. Both of these decks I did purchase on Amazon. The BPD card deck, and then we have the DPT deck. Both. I haven't used the BPD. I've used it for myself here, but I've used the DPT deck more in therapy. I'm going to start with the BPD deck, though, and I'm going to pull a card randomly and just discuss it. Maybe it'll help trigger some things inside of your brain to want to discuss or things that you've never really considered before. It's always good just to have check-ins. Sorry for the cats. They are very excited this morning because I don't have the dogs down here. Everyone is sleeping upstairs, so the dogs are upstairs, so the cats are having a free-for-all right now. Ooh, so I got Name That Urge. Think of an urge that drives your impulsive behavior. Now give it a name. It can be funny or odd, like pumpkin pop. By identifying it, you're preparing yourself to not only notice it, but to control it before it consumes you. Not bad. I've actually never thought of it that way. Cats. I almost wonder if this, I don't have as much impulsive behavior as I used to when I was younger, but I wonder if this also works for triggers, to name your triggers something really goofball, so that way you can kind of identify them before they come and not have to rely so much on the coping skills or being in wise mind and just know that it's coming and maybe to prepare people, those around you. I actually have a trigger word I like to use. I haven't used it in a while. Maybe I should. Because I think going through this and opening up some wounds is making me a little irritable, possibly because I've bleh so much that like all my defenses are down. But I have a trigger word that I like to use. It was the first thing that popped in my head. It was koala. Surprise, it's an animal. Koala for me means I am too emotionally triggered right now to have a conversation with you, and I need to take a break from this moment. I do want to come back to this moment when I am in wise mind, when I have my adult feelings back in check, when my child isn't running the show, which my inner child can run the show from time to time. Um, so I like to use the word koala. My husband also has a trigger word, and I'm going to remind him of his as well. Um, so naming that urge, your impulse. Okay, just kidding. I do have an impulse. All right. Here we go. It's very embarrassing. I pick at my skin. I have a compulsionary impulsive behavior that I pick at my skin. because I am not happy with my skin. Hey, Batman. I am not happy with my skin. I'm not happy with the way I look. So that's years of trauma, which is why I like to get tattooed. They don't always help me, but I find this skin with this artwork way prettier than any skin I'm actually in. So I try to pick in places that people don't normally see, or they won't be able to see because it is embarrassing. I used to, when I was younger, pluck my leg hair in other areas, my pelvic area, because people couldn't see it. And you shave your legs, so no one's going to question why don't you have hair on your legs, right? My mother and my sibling, I don't know if my sibling plucked, but definitely picked. And my mother was a plucker. She, growing up, had no eyebrow hair, no eyelashes. She still had her hair, and I think that's just because she was really in love with her hair. It was very light and flouncy and can curl so easily, where my thick ass hair can't curl for shit. Or if it does curl, it doesn't stay. So I'm not sure if that means totally like it's in our DNA to pick or pluck or do something. I'm sorry, my screen's really dark. I have light, but just because of my glasses, I didn't want to take my glasses off because my eyes are bothering me, but I have light to make me brighter. It's just a lot, and it's light, and I don't really want a lot of light. Anyways, so what am I going to name my urge? What am I going to name my impulse? Prickly pear? Like Jungle Book? A prickly pear? Maybe. I'm going to write that down. Maybe come back to it. Maybe I can make up some kind of weird jingle to go with it, so that way I can start singing my song and not pick at myself. Prickly pear for picking. Oh yeah, I'm going to make a tongue twister. All right, sorry, I have to take notes. So if you guys do see me getting into anything heavy or talking in circles, and then you kind of start like seeing me, yeah, I'm picking, and I'll do my best not to. Actually, can see myself this time, so I can be more aware of what my actions actually are doing while I'm speaking. So again, your BPD card, name that urge, and I'll say it again. Think of an urge that drives your impulsive behavior. Now give it a name. It can be funny or odd, like pumpkin pop. By identifying it, you're preparing yourself to not only notice it, but to control it before it consumes you. So, on to the DBT deck. These ones are always more challenging because when you don't respect and love yourself or have any value to yourself, even though like you really fight it in your head that you can find some value or you can fight for yourself, but in here, especially, I don't know if everyone with BPD has this, but like a lot of my emotions, when they're not triggered to the main 5 or 6 for most people, is gray. It's flat. And I remember I said I would speak on this on about feelings. So I will try to the birds. I feed the birds and the squirrels too, so the cats have something to look at. I'm going to go to the DBT deck, and then I will speak a little bit about my feelings and emotions and how I feel them and how I see them internally for myself. And then I might speak on my mother a little bit more just because it is her birthday. So if you're watching, happy birthday. You are 20 years older than my husband. I know I have young parents, guys. All right, so DBT deck is actually color-coded. So for all the different mindfulness tricks, all sorts of things. Oh, let me not take the welcome cards or the tips. Gosh, I didn't mix them up. I guess I've just been randomly grabbing out of the deck. I'm going to mix them up a little bit, and I'm going to grab one. Let's speak on it. Let's talk. Let's share. Maybe there's some ideas that someone else can offer to help, because we don't know everything. None of us does. So community support is really important. No! No. Sorry, it's my morning cough. I cannot believe this right now. This is my most hated card of all. I hate this card. It's such. Ugh. I can't believe I pulled this card. This is the card that gives me the most trouble. I can't believe you guys just saw me do that. For any of my therapists out there watching, congratulations. I'm sure this is a good joke for y'all. Radical acceptance. Okay? Radical acceptance. Philosopher and psychologist William James once said, "The first step in overcoming any misfortune is allow it to be." Allow the status quo to be, right? Allow this to happen. BPD, we don't. Hence the title of my channel, Roller Coaster of Storms. We don't often just do this. We're not flatlining. We are very much. So, radical acceptance. Acceptance is not saying what happened is okay. And acceptance is not giving up or giving in. And this is something that I am challenging myself to do right now, to accept the fact that my mother had trauma, my father had trauma, they had pain, they self-medicated, which created substance use disorders. But I do not have to accept their treatment on me from then to now is okay. I do not have to accept them for as they are as a whole being. I don't. To try to accept that they have a struggle as well as I have a struggle, I can do. But as I'm taking responsibility for my struggle and trying to do radical acceptance, others in my life have to do the same. And if they don't want to, they don't want to, that's okay. I'm going out and creating my life. But if you want me a part of your life, there are certain things I need. And I think at this point, and I won't say this is forever, I think at this point, I'm not going to get those needs met. I haven't got them met the first 37 years of my life. Why should I expect it to change now? Isn't that the definition of crazy? So, acceptance is acknowledging reality. What are you doing? Thank you. Sorry, it's reversed in my camera. Acceptance is acknowledging reality so you can marshal your psychological and emotional resources to move forward and heal, which basically means, all right, this is where we're at right now. This is how life's going to be. What resources, what tools do I have in my tool bag that's going to help me not accept the treatment or the behavior, but to accept the situation that I'm in, and that I myself am unable to change that situation, but I can manage how I react to that situation. Learning to accept reality and then using your skills to be as effective as possible is the path forward and the way to end suffering. Spend the next few minutes contemplating the role of acceptance into your life. So as I've told my therapist before, how do you accept yourself when you don't have a reason to accept? Something I've come across as I speak to my therapist more recently is, as a child, I wasn't given a fair chance. When you have one or both parents with personality disorders and substance use disorders, you're not given a fair chance. That's quite literally one of the environmental factors of BPD. It's having a family member with a mental health issue or substance use disorder, or I hate my ums. I used to get so much in trouble at ROTC for my ums. That is not for you to scratch on. You have scratching pads. Sorry, my cat. One of my cats. Back to my train of thought. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. At first time I lost my train of thought. Damn you cats. Damn you cats. Okay, maybe I'll come back to it. I know it was something my parents. Maybe it was more the radical acceptance. I hate radical acceptance. Okay, yes. Not getting a chance. Not getting a chance to survive. Not getting a chance to be a real kid. To know what being a kid is like. To enjoy fractions of things. So it's really important when children of trauma are growing up that they aren't, especially if it happens from trusted family members, they're not building core memories. They're not building great social cues. They're building defenses. They're building things to protect themselves while other kids are able to learn and grow and be happy. We're growing like other people might go like this, we might go like this, or you might grow like this. Still a path of growth. It's your environment depends on the growth. As I said earlier, let me get off radical acceptance because it feels gross on my skin and I don't like it. I have to use it. I don't like it. I don't want to accept myself. It's all in my head. I know it is. But when you rarely were told how good you were, that wasn't anything to do with a job or tests or graduating. Like, was I good just on my own? So, as I said earlier, today's my mother's birthday. She probably isn't going to watch this or see this. I have, in the past, tried really hard to get my mother to see the things that she did to me. She always told me my memory is wrong. She always told me I can't remember things right, or that's not how things happened, or I never did this. I didn't do that. And it's come across like, I don't know, one time she told me something, and I guess I can go into the story. I was going to wait till later, but there's so much mother stories that I have. Just be nice. There's 2 windows open, okay? So my mother, despite her best efforts and her trying, which is the excuse she always said to me, was that she did the best that she could. Well, as an adult, you could do better, and you're choosing not to. So my mother would abuse me. I'm not sure at what age she started hitting me. I remember the yelling because I remember the crying corners. I remember getting screamed at. Maybe my head pulled. She actually pulled my hair in my head a lot when she didn't like my train of thought or whatever I had to say. It was, I very, 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 very rarely spoke out against my mom or spoke like caught an attitude with her. My sister did. My sister was able to do it. I was terrified of my mother. I remember being at least in 6th grade. I'm pretty sure it was 6th grade. And I couldn't tell you what I had done to get the abuse, but it was coming. And she was so angry and mad at me that she was hitting me in the face. And at one point, she hit me in the side of my head, and she had a watch on, and she ripped the watch away, and it was caught in my ear, and it made my ear swell up, almost like cauliflower ear. And I got to stay home from school that day. Not because I was in pain, not because it hurt me, but because she didn't want to get in trouble. It took a long time for me to realize that from that point on, I remember getting hit a lot more. At first, they were with like slaps here and there. God. Sorry, some bad memories are coming up. Remember the paddle balls on the string? Hated getting those for Easter. Because once the string broke, they were weapons. So you keep them on top of the fridge in the kitchen. Obviously, the fridge is in the kitchen. She'd hit us with those. I remember she used to spank us on our ass, but when it didn't really affect us or hit us in the back of the legs with her hands, it would hurt her hands too much. She would use shoes. Now, mind you, this is still in elementary and middle school, at least 5th grade, if not 6th grade for sure on. It only got worse as I got older. All I wanted to do was make her happy and please her, man. And be a kid. So I would lie about not doing chores or not doing homework so I could spend time watching a cartoon show like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon. I could, and that was in high school, I could play a video game on PlayStation, maybe my N64. I could sit outside and read. I really enjoyed reading. It helped me escape a lot, as long as my animals and music. Those 3 things. Who knows where I'd be. Go outside and play with a few friends that I actually did make. I got in trouble for one of those. She came home early and caught me. I got hit for that. And because I was lying so much to not get hit, it made it worse. And then eventually I got liquid pump soap poured down my throat, and I vomited as she was ripping my hair back in the bathroom because I lied about, I think it was homework. I made almost straight A's my senior year. I had an 89B in one class, and I don't even want to, I might speak about that later, but that teacher really irritated and pissed me off. And I hate that so many other people loved her because she was a sports teacher as well. And they were on her team, and they got more privileges. And it was early, my second class in the morning. And here I am not sleeping and getting abused and getting yelled at and getting screamed at. And sometimes I would fall asleep in class. And she'd just get mad at me and not even ask me or try to understand where I was coming from. I was one of 3 kids in the class that weren't in sports. But I was the one doing all the work. I love animals. And I was taking an anatomy class where I had to skin and cut open a cat. And I did it. I did it out of my entire team of people. Nobody else would. I had to do it. And so, I make efforts. I'm trying my best. I had an 89 in the class, and for the first time in my life, I was going to make straight A's, and I couldn't get a point. I begged for everything. She told me I shouldn't be sleeping in class. You're a teacher. One of the first defenses we have as kids to protect us from our own parents. How many kids use school as an escape, even if they weren't doing good at it? It was just a reprieve for 8 hours. How many kids are getting fed at school and not getting fed at home? I didn't have that issue, but other people I know did. If you don't want to try to understand kids and help them grow, I don't understand why you're a teacher. At some point in high school, my mom switched from using her hand to using objects because I remember her saying at some point, "Look what you did to me. Look what you did to me. You bruised my hand. You caused this." You caused the bruising in my hand from hitting you. Guess I can turn my light on now. Now that I'm not wearing my glasses. See, I have light. Oh, it's so bright. Oh, that's too much. Maybe it's just too much. Maybe I'm better off in the dark. Here, I'll try it like that. It's a little bit. I got in trouble in middle school because I hated math. I hated having math class. And even though I tried my hardest and I studied, I couldn't grasp math. So when my teacher, I don't know, decided to give up on me, she allowed me to cut class and go to the guidance counselor's office where I love being in the guidance counselor's office. There's no pressure. Someone actually spoke to you like a human being. I had so much busy work I could help her with that I didn't have to think. I liked being like an office assistant growing up because I didn't have to think. Everything was right there and told you what to do. So I went to cut class or skip class. I always checked in with my teacher, got marked for attendance, and then left with their approval. I never did without their approval because I even asked my mother on senior skip day to skip class when I was making straight A's. That's how terrified I was. I asked my mother on senior skip day to let me cut the rest of the day because everybody else was. There was no point. No one was having classes for seniors. So I went into class and my teacher said, we're having a test that day. And I said, oh, okay, I didn't know. She said, yeah, that's okay. She said, to be honest, you could not do any more tests and any more homework and you would still pass. You would still pass 7th grade. So what 12-year-old, what would they do? Of course they're going to stop. Oh, I can still pass and not get marked down for any grades. Oh my God, this is a scam. Who knows about this? Not realizing that it meant she was going to give me a big old fat fucking F on my report card. And it was, I can't hear my eye. It was about 2 weeks before report cards came out, and it dawned on me, like the common sense thing clicked in my head. Even though teachers are supposed to guide us and help us, like it clicked in my head that, oh my God, I'm going to have an F and I'm going to get in so much trouble. So much trouble. I got grounded. I don't remember if I got hit because I tried it. I remember getting yelled at. I remember I was being called stupid for believing my teacher. I was stupid for believing my teacher and not being able to like find the answer to the end of the question. That like the problem I had was, yeah, you can do all of this, but you're going to fail and you're an F. If I would have known, I wouldn't have done that. I thought I was getting a break. I really did. So at that point, this was at the magnet school. My mother was done. There were so many issues with that school. I got failed at a gym class. When I actually did gym, I was one of the few people that did do gym, but because I didn't hang out with the gym teacher, so it made me uncomfortable to hang out with a male gym teacher. Me and the other kids that did, we just walked the track while they just sat around and talked. So like at least we were doing something, right? We all failed gym for a semester. That teacher got fired. I had another teacher who had lost my English work, and was a really good teacher. I really liked her. And I believe she was pregnant. And so, like, things get lost, things get messy. And I was doing my report. It's one I have. I actually have it right here in my hope chest. I had to create a magical world. And my magical world had good and evil and had justices. And we were watching the Iliad, the Vanessa Williams version. I love the Odyssey and the Iliad. I remember getting pulled out of class, out of the amphitheater where we were watching it, and being taken to the principal's office. And my mother was there because they were going to figure this shit out. Was I lying? Which meant I was going to get in a heap of trouble because my mother took time out of her day to take care of me or make sure it was right. So if I was not doing what's right, I would have gotten in trouble. So eventually I found out I made an A+, but my mom raised hell. I was in band. I played the flute. I was either first or second chair. We did some really, really good things. And I remember being in 6th and 7th grade and having a hard time on the flute with my pinkies. So I'm trying to bend them right now and they're locked. Like they pop if I try to press down. So if you play the flute, you have to, like, I can't even bend them now. Like, you have to use those pinkies. They're very common notes, the pinkies. And I would have to, a few times out of the month, sit and do band homework or watch something on Mozart or who knows. It was a form of punishment for not being able to control my body. And I really enjoyed this music teacher until he got angry. And when he got angry, he threw stuff. So if you ever saw Whiplash, he would throw chairs across the room. He would break his baton, like really mean things for kids who are trying. And we have so many other factors going on that they think that this 45-minute class is the end all be all. And we don't have 6 other classes worth of work that we have to do. And you want us to, like, some of us are really trying our best. Some of us don't try at all. Yes. But a majority of us do try. Oh. It's getting chilly. All the cats left. Needless to say, after the last thing with my mom in middle school, I stopped going to that middle school and got moved to a public school, which wasn't in my jurisdiction. I was supposed to go to another middle school, but instead, my mom would take me to my friend's house. God, I'm going to get to my friends in a little bit in middle school because they helped a lot. She'd take me to my friend's house, and that in the neighborhood I used to live in. And she dropped me off in the mornings and then picked me up in the afternoons. Yeah, because this chick and I did some crazy stuff together, man. We threw eggs at drug dealers off the top of. We jumped from roof to roof. Sorry, it's my morning. Gotta clear everything out. Ding dong door ditch. We tried calling the corners with 3 of us. We made it rain in Florida. Like, it doesn't rain multiple times a day, every day in Florida. She had a little party. I remember the party, but that was in 8th grade. It was the first. Besides birthday parties, that was the only party I've ever been to in my school life. We broke her garage door. I forgot. We broke her garage door. Oh, I'm so glad she didn't get in trouble for that. I had a group of friends in my neighborhood before I moved out. And then I only had one friend in that neighborhood, which happened to be my best friend for a short period of time before my mother ruined that one as well. Sorry, I want to share their names, but I don't want to I don't want to share. I want to share their first names just because like they each had such unique, different personalities that they brought and showed me. One just had brothers. I didn't have another boy, and oh my god, poor child, constantly having to live on our toes with two brothers in the house. She always felt more put together and more adult than me. And I remember she judged a little bit, but you know, what else are you supposed to do as a kid? You don't know any difference. She had a really pretty house. I liked her house. I liked where the house was at the end, way in the back. So you didn't have to deal with a whole lot of cars and people. I lived in the beginning of the neighborhood. I had another friend who had an older sister. I believe it was an older sister. Very rarely saw them. Very rarely. Did watch their Jerry Springer video, though. Uncut and uncensored Jerry Springer. I remember watching that. And I'm like, oh, is this life? Is this real? She was beautiful. She had a skin pigment disorder. So if she got too much sun, her skin would change, kind of bleach it. She was so vibrant. She was so fun. Like, you could tell her parents really loved her. I was grateful. And then my other friend who I stayed at, like, we were down to clown. Like, that was the real homie. That was, let's get some crazy shit without a second thought. We're fucking doing it. Like, I don't care. Let's live a little, you know. And she's got some Spanish in her and was a feisty mama for sure, especially with her own mom for sure. I'm so grateful for them and the reprieve that I got from time to time with them. And another friend who was a guy who never like ever done anything harmful to me, never had any of our friends, was always just a chill guy, but my dog did not like him. He would stand behind me and bark at him, which is really weird because like I would go over to his house. He had siblings, his mom and dad knew me. Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh. And then my other friend, the Betty Boop friend, she had a dope house and she had a big old trampoline and an above ground pool and a playground. Because remember we climbed on top of the playground, jumping the trampoline into the pool. Yeah. That's safe. I'm pretty sure she had the thing for Betty Boop. It could have been her mom as well, like passing it on to her, but there was so much Betty Boop in this house everywhere, all the time. I think she moved. She was one of the first ones to move out of our neighborhood. Or maybe it was me. Because I was only there for just a few years. Long enough to get my baby boy Jack. So 8th grade, I went back to public school, which was fine. I thrived just as much at a public school as I did at a magnet school or didn't do at a magnet school. In 6th grade, I felt like I didn't fit in. I did find a group of friends. Wow. I wonder if we were all had trauma. the group of friends I hung out with, because I'm pretty sure we were all, for the most part, it might have been one or two of us, it wasn't me, but that had both parents, but mostly I think we were all single parent or divorced parent households. We were more alternative. I wore the Jinko jeans, and I wouldn't wear super baggy stuff. Like, I used Jinko jeans, but like my tops weren't as baggy. Definitely more skater punk-esque type of fitting in. And oh my gosh, the guys were funny. The guys were hilarious. The couple that we hung out with, I think there was 4 of them. Hilarious. I never laughed so hard in the mornings before I had to go to school. And it set my day to laugh that much after leaving the house. Like, I did have a 45-minute bus ride to the magnet school, so I put music on and was able to like chill out. Well, yeah, so maybe three of us had both parents, because the girls, the women of the group, I think 2 of them had their parents still together. One of them lived on the same side of town as my dad did. And I maybe got over there twice. Even though I really consider them a friend, I used to keep notes from them. We have these crazy nicknames for each other. Mine was Step on Me. Yeah, I hated that. Yeah, my dad didn't trust anybody, I guess. I don't know. He just didn't let me over there, which is weird because I was routinely left with strangers by my father or my stepmom's family members who didn't always treat me as one of their own. Like, they did and they didn't. They really expected me to know a lot more or act certain ways than I did, and not realizing, well, they did eventually realize where I came from, and they just didn't care. They didn't care, couldn't be bothered to save this child or the sibling. Nope. Just want to talk shit and make fun of them for what they do or don't do, or know or don't know. I got lost at Disney World because we were on my father's honeymoon. I know I was talking about something else, but we were on my father's honeymoon, and him and his wife went off, my stepmom. Of course, what are they else going to do? Which I hated because I didn't feel like I fit in, and I'm 9 or 10, maybe. No more than 11. And maybe 10. I got stuck with my cousins and the rest of the family, but they definitely, like, redheaded stepchild saying, I felt that way. And I remember we were in the future area of Disney, because I remember the rocket ships that spin up top. I think it's like Buzz Lightyear's area now. So at this point where I was at Disney, they had the Alien ride where Alien would come down and like breathe on your neck. Now it's Stitch, but I don't know, now it's nothing. I don't even think they have that ride anymore. But it used to be Alien from the movie Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. That thing it terrified me. My poor aunt. I crushed her hand. I was so terrified. So I think we had just got done with that ride, and there was a parade going on, and it was a multicultural parade, and I was watching the African dancers, and they were beautiful and they were vibrant. I'm not mistaken, was it African or was it Jamaican? I can't remember the colors they were wearing. I want to say yellow was sticking out, but yellow looks so beautiful on their skin. I was really enjoying myself. My family probably not so much. And I don't know if they were like deciding where to go next, what to do, if they were going to eat, because there's at least 15 of us, right? I don't know. There's a big group of us there. And I was standing on the sidewalk of the little road area. There's not a real road, but I was watching, and I guess they didn't want to watch, or they wanted to go converse. And nobody tapped me on the shoulder to say, hey, we're going to go sit over here. Whenever you're done, come join us. They just went and sat down. And once it was over or whatever, By the time it was over, there was crowds of people standing and watching. So if you're sitting, I can't see you. As a 10 or 11-year-old kid, I can't see you. So when I spin around to look for a fucking face that I know, I don't see anybody. I panic. I spin around again. I don't see anybody. So what did I do? I went to a damn popcorn stand and said, "Hi, I'm lost. I'm not sure where my family went. I'm here with a bunch of people. You know, I don't know what to do." And the worker did exactly what they're supposed to do. They had me sit down behind their booth. They offered me a Coke, and I wish I had taken it at the time, but I didn't because I didn't want to be an inconvenience. I said I didn't want anything and within 3 or 4 minutes, my uncle is one of the uncles comes marching down, and I said, "Oh, this is my uncle." And the worker, "Thank you, worker. Thank you." Doubled and triple checked that it was my uncle. Isn't that crazy? That a random stranger worker can give you more peace of mind and show more thoughtfulness than your teachers will, who spend the most time with you when you're growing up. So needless to say, my uncle brought me back, and I was in trouble for getting lost. I got in trouble for being a 10-year-old kid getting lost at Disney World who didn't run around and cry and go hide somewhere. I went straight to an adult, a worker at the place, and told them I was lost, and they radioed it in. For the rest of the trip, I had to ride rides with my aunt. They said I did it on purpose. They said that it's always my way or the highway, that I want to do things the way that I want to do them. If I was on the spectrum, yeah, I'm going to be like that. If I'm out of the control of my mother's hands, who controlled every aspect of my life, I was cleaning cages, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning the kitchen and the bathroom and doing laundry and forgetting to fold socks in the basket and getting hit for that, forgetting to wash a pot on the stove at 14 and getting hit with the pot. But I was actively, as a child, making sure their lives were hard, right? So I'm not sure why my dad wouldn't let me over to my friend's house. I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out which way I want to go. I'm stimming. I'm not actually doing anything. I'm spinning a pencil because there's so much that has happened and so much I hid for so long from so many people. Unless you were my dad or my stepfamily, you had no idea how much abuse I was going through. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed because it was my fault, right? It's my fault that I'm not smart enough. It's my fault that I don't have common sense. It's my fault that I want to be a kid and I'm going to lie sometimes. I don't know when my mother didn't, I feel like she stopped loving me at a certain point and started to get jealous of me, which that was something I couldn't comprehend until just a few years ago, is that why would a parent be jealous of their child? I wasn't even successful at anything. So in 7th grade, when I failed a semester of math, I still passed math with a C or a B in middle school. I was grounded into 8th grade, the summer and into 8th grade. I wasn't allowed to watch TV. I think I was allowed music because she didn't want me to go crazy. I could read, I could do books. And then every day of the summer, she gave me a list of chores to do. They weren't easy chores. I did them, and I went above and beyond. And for 2 weeks straight, I cleaned everything. I scrubbed cages. I was picking up the dog poop in the back. I was filling in holes, cleaning the pool, rearranging my sister's entire room. I was cleaning it. My mom felt bad and let me off. But I had to wear a uniform my 8th grade school year. Uniforms were not required at this time. They were optional, which meant that usually those that had to wear uniforms didn't have enough funds to supply their kids with clothes, and these were the free clothes that they got through a program. Or I guess like me, you were in trouble. So to make sure at the new school that I didn't fit in, I was one of, what were we on? We were in like halls or something like that. Like all of our classes would be like on 2 floors of a hall, unless they were electives and they were in another building. And in that hall where they split, I don't know, maybe 50, 60 of us kids up, 8th graders up, I was one of 10 that was wearing a uniform to school. And I even had to wear them on Fridays. And I was getting tired of getting made fun of, so I snuck jeans in. These really pretty bell bottoms that had black embroidered flowers up them. And I snuck it in my bag so I could feel normal. And I could feel confident, I guess, to like interact with my peers. And when I came home, I didn't change before I left school, because why would I? She was already home. And she was in the bathroom, my bathroom in my room. So, of course, she came out within seconds of me arriving, and I tried to tell her that I just changed into these jeans. I was changing out of my uniform, and of course she caught me. Didn't believe me. Got hit for that. Near the end of 8th grade, I was proving myself again. Good grades. And so I didn't have to wear a uniform. And I borrowed an outfit from a friend. Another friend who my mom didn't like, because she didn't like her parents and thought they were poor and trashy, even though her father was a motorcyclist. So my mother loved motorcycle boys. She thought they were trashy and thought the things that they did for their daughter to bond, so they got matching tattoos, was trashy. And even though they were the sweetest people and they never treated me any differently, I know they didn't like my mom. She had the coolest clothes, and I asked to borrow an outfit, and it was, I might have a picture on my computer actually, but it was a red shirt that was forming with a black dragon and some, I don't know if it was Chinese or Japanese lettering, and a black skirt that had a slit to the knee, one slit to the knee, but like it went down to my ankles and the slit was to my knee. And I wore some platform type Mary Janes. And in 8th grade, they called me a whore for wearing that outfit. Trying to see if I have it just right, readily available. Needless to say, that was not the first nor the last time I was called a whore. whore or a bitch or attention seeking or an asshole. I was called so many things along with stupid. Oh, Scheiße, I don't see it. If I do, maybe I'll post it in my group if I find it later on. I don't want to do a complete search of my computer. Okay. Anyways, I'll go back to you guys. I remember getting in trouble for wearing that outfit because I wore it walking in the neighborhood where my best friend lived, in the same neighborhood. It was a trailer park. So why was I the whore for wearing an outfit in a trailer park? Because other people would what? If you think they were attempting to hurt me, then why would you let me? I didn't make sense of why it was my fault. A lot of things were my fault. Oh, my husband's writing me. Am I okay? Am I okay? That's a loaded question. My mother isn't calling me names. She called me an asshole and a bitch on my bachelorette party because she got drunk and was taking her clothes off in public. And I didn't want to be a part of it. I ended the bachelorette party early. She was talking shit about me to the driver while I stood behind her, the driver of the party bus. Someone I know really close. I was a bitch the last time she spoke to me because I told her she was ridiculous for buying Confederate flags after January 6th. And the boomer in her was like, oh, they're not going to make these flags anymore. I told her it was a poor excuse. And then she was mad at the chicks for changing their name. Also told her it was a poor excuse. And the fact that I was adulting her, she did not like. And I was a fucking bitch. And I hung up the phone because I was not allowing her to call me names anymore. So then she wrote me, calling me a bitch, and sending me the real history of what the Confederate flag means. Can't come down with the dogs. I'm still alive. They're gonna create a mess. Don't come down here. I know you're not watching because nobody's watching. See? I guess this means I have to be wrapping up soon. The last words I said to my mother were, wrote to my mother was, you should have aborted the baby before me and after me if you didn't want me. Or you should have aborted the baby before me if you didn't want me. Which is something, I don't know if I felt that she didn't want or she wanted because she knew how pretty her and my father looked like brother and sister. Blue eyes, dark hair, tan skin. And I feel like I was kept because of the way I could possibly look. And I don't know. I think my mom wanted me to be like her, especially that poem I read last time. And I didn't want to be her. She had a good work ethic, but what else? She showed me love for animals to a point because she would rather get stoned than take care of the animals or clean all the kids. She didn't have time for everything. You think we had in the trailer, we had a whole entire room, probably about this size, with snakes. She was breeding snakes. We had snakes in our living room. We had at least 2 birds. Pretty sure it was just 2 birds in the trailer. They were in their den. And a futon sometimes in there. Sometimes we didn't have a couch in there because we'd have fish. We'd have turtles. We'd have lizards, caught rabbits, with cats. They had 3 or 4 cats. Rats. There was mice because my mom was feeding them. God, I remember, she would get mad at me for not wanting to feed the snakes mice or not put the mice in the freezer so they could die going to sleep. It really, really hurt me to kill something else. She would get mad at me for feeling the way I felt. Every time she yells, I cry. And so I'm a baby. I was always selfish, a selfish person. I was a baby. I was a liar. I was a whore. I was a bitch. God. All for just trying to be a person. The amount of times I confronted her or tried to confront her, and I was told I was remembering things wrong or that was a threat. She tried to tell me, okay, I'm going to give my last story, and then I'm going to get off so people can leave their rooms. Sorry, guys. Give me just a moment. I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I'll come back to this another time. Yeah, maybe I just come back because there's like other stories coming up that are just as heavy. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that quite yet. Especially without my emotional support doggies. I have a cat, and he's very feisty right now, so he doesn't want to cuddle. Yeah, I think, sorry, my feelings just kind of went blah. As much as I do want to share and do continue on, sometimes you just have to accept radical acceptance where you are, where you're going to be at. Remember I said last time, self-care, especially over heavy shit. I colored the color again as much as I can before my body gives out on me. My hands, they still hurt. I'm stimming really bad right now, guys. I didn't expect, I guess, a lot of this. Maybe because it is my mom's birthday. This is next week. It's, my dad's anniversary, death anniversary month. I don't know. There's a lot right now, and I don't want to overwhelm myself and anybody else because this is all pretty heavy. Let's remember to name the urge, your impulsive behavior. My favorite card, we're going to radically accept. Again, let me reiterate what radical acceptance is. It's not saying what happened is okay, and then it's not giving up or giving in. It's just accepting what is for right now and how you can control your response to that what is. I am not sure when I'll be back online. At least you'll know I'll be back on Wednesday. I don't know, maybe the weekend. I just really see how I feel. Wants me to go. See how I feel. See how the weather is. If the weather's nice than it has been, then I'll be spending some time outside. Maybe I'll go live on a location. That doesn't seem very safe. Location maybe being my backyard feels safer than actually being out and sharing. I feel too vulnerable. But what I'll try to do, if you're part of my Facebook group, Roller Coaster of Storms, I will do my best to maybe make a post there stating that I'm going to go live in a few hours, or I'm going to go live in 30 minutes, or I'm going to go live in 2 days. And again, this is my live journal. I'm just kind of talking a lot of things out. If you find something that's helpful in here, please share it. If you think someone else could use this to help them feel not alone, please share it. If you think there are things that I can do to help soothe myself, please share it. Again, have a good or bad day, depending on the day you want to have. But if anything, you don't want or wish for anything, I hope it's uneventful. I hope you can stay on this level, or even this level, and not be at this level. I'm going to try not to be at this level. I kind of feel like this level right now. So I'm going to do some of the things I need to do to make sure I can be more fully present and wise mind for the other adults that live in my house and my animals, and give them the respect they deserve in managing myself. Have a great day. Thank you again for listening to me go on. I appreciate it. Bye.